Nikubi Bana Bantu, Mutoto wa Kibantu, Bana Ver Muntu.
Like to understand when our guests come, what are their intentions, what is the intent coming here, and we also want to know each other. This place, we do not charge, but we don't just come that way. At the gate, we give an entry fee of 100 bob per head. Coming from there, you will want an elder like this of the Maturangoro age, so that he can give us an understanding of our culture. Then there's something else that follows. Because if you're going to involve an elder of his stature, we call it duhi, which is it's a token of gratitude. It's a sign of appreciation, as he said. Yes, because he also needs to eat, he also needs to live. He's one of the teachers that teach here. And what we are going to do? No, we do not. We're not here to run a monetary system. It doesn't matter whether it's the gate or what. But please, this place is run by people and they need to survive. So at this point, once you understand this, whatever the Most High gives in your heart to give, then give to the cradle of your people. It is not an obligation. You do it out of your heart. Whatever is put by Ngai Morungu Mwene Nyaga.
Now, from there, let me leave you with our guide here.
So now we are left with the elder who's going to explain to us everything. Wakiawa?
Yes.
Roani roaku. Dai. I give thanks because you have arrived. I give thanks to Mwene Nyaga because he has allowed you to reach to this place. We welcome you open-heartedly. When you're here, feel like you're at home. Because whatever we're going to discuss or whatever is going to be revealed to you is very important in this life that we are living. I will begin by introducing myself. My name is Kamau Wakife. I was born in this naturalization. And I was able to interact with the elders that came before me in this village. And I appreciate that they also gave me the understanding of the truth, so that I can become an elder and give the understanding as my forefathers did. Those elders have rested in Weroa Mukaga, they rest with our ancestors. And the things that they left with us, that is what I give to those that come to this homestead. And first of all, I belong to the clan of the Ashera. And that I come from the third daughter of Gikuyu, who was Njahi, and she was the third born. She was given that name because she wanted to explore. She was very curious about the world. So those that were birthed from her clan are called the Ashera. And I hope that we may understand each other. Then I wish to know those that are present, so that when I'm asked, those that are here, I may know. So, our viewers, we are going to go off camera for the privacy of those that are present. We will resume with the lessons from. He says his name is Moshoki. He's an elder in this place, and he comes here because he loves people and he wants to see people prosper. It is good to know. Now we have come from the courts. Now I have heard Washira Wakirago mentioned, and I was with him in the court. We have been arrested by the government in that very same hut that you see there, and we were told that we belong to Mongeke. And now we keep getting mentions of that case. We've been following it up. I am happy that the Gikuyu kings and queens have visited us, because by these productions they start to understand how the men and women were arrested. Because I speak without fear or favor, the government that we have does not want us to celebrate our culture or to live our culture. So now I stand with all the Itungati of Kiri-Nyaga, because they stood with us when they heard we had this court. They were there, they turned up in the court cases and they supported us. And as far as they saw the crowd response, the interaction from the community, they were scared and the files could not be found. And now they have understood that the prophecy that was given in Isaiah 18, the Gikuyu, will guide the rest of the nation to liberation. Now they already understand that we know ourselves and we know who we are and our purpose in this life. And we have already accepted that they brought foreign deities to us that our ancestors knew not. And they have accepted that our culture, our taboos, our ways, and everything that our ancestors taught us is going to stand. And the day after tomorrow, if they decide we are going to go to court, and I mention the Honorable Mheshimiwa Kioni, the one that has stood with us, and Washira Wakirago, and somebody else called Kenodia, people that are very important in the community, wanting to show the government that we are not relenting on our culture until our culture stands. And we have shown them that we are not afraid. And we have shown them that Kiri-Nyaga is the country of our people. We have sent our address to the President of the Republic of Kenya. May he know that we are the ones that fought for the liberation of this country in the forest. We fought in the forest and many of our people died, many of our people suffered under the Mau Mau rebellion. And our head of state understands that if he does not change the course that is going on, that name that they have bestowed upon those that wish to exercise the right to worship Ngai, Murungu Mwene Nyaga, terming them as Mongeke, they are looking for loopholes to kill our people and our culture. Now we are going to stand as the Gikuyu, as our ancestors stood. We are not afraid, nor will we relent. From the beginning of this word that I have given with you, I welcome you as the elder that stands in the place that our ancestor came from, Mukuruwe Nyagathanga. And not everybody wants to harm. Not everybody is Mongeke. We are just here celebrating our culture. So it is not our wish to have the police harass us as we exercise our culture, calling us Mongeke, because they have defiled our ways, the way we worship the Most High, Kiri-Nyaga, the Most High, the one that abodes in the mountain. They have defiled our Kirongona. Kirongona is our sacrifices, our ritual, our ways. They have defiled them by doing this to us. He appreciates my presence because I have come. So as we proceed, it is by the divine providence that you have met us, because we wish to tell the world this is the truth that Gikuyu was given by Ngai. And it may look bizarre, but these are the same grounds that the first man was born in. So when we speak of the Gikuyu, we speak exactly at that particular spot where we are supposed to be. We speak as the Gikuyu and those that have been given the mandate to speak the truth of our people. We are not speaking like guests. We speak as those that are supposed to speak. And we speak to our Gikuyu. And we speak these things coming from our heart. So what I would like to tell you, my guests, and to you that are watching, this is the beginning of all the Gikuyu. This is where our progenitor Gikuyu was brought by Ngai after leaving Mount Kenya, and he was placed here with his wife Mombi. And all those girls you hear, 9 to completion, Kedamoyor, because we do not count, it's 10, but we do not count the 10th one who are born here. And every girl was given her unique gifts and all her talents. So every clan, there's a way that they relate, depending on the way that they disperse to the world. Because our house is big, it is because we have been dispersed. And it doesn't matter where we are. We are supposed to celebrate our culture. And so that we accept that we are the Gikuyu, Mukurwe. Whether we are in foreign lands, the mighty one of Kiri-Nyaga has given us this nation. We have been bestowed the blessings of our ancestors with many things in this land. And when I speak of these things, I speak the truth the way that it is. And the Most High has blessed Isolile in all the ways possible, because we are hearing people that in very high places I'm hearing even senators in the Gikuyu culture has brought senators in Australia. We hear the deputy in Rwanda is also a descendant of the Gikuyu. We hear the judges in South Africa that are descendants of the Gikuyu. So the mighty one of Gikuyu is not one to play around with. He is the mighty one that blesses his children. Our mighty one is not the mighty one of Israel, he's the mighty one of the Gikuyu. And the mighty one of the Gikuyu has power. And when he's happy, he blesses us when we live according to his ways. So whichever country we are, let us show love. Let us show unity, so that we may receive the blessings of the mighty one. You of the other nations, do not be worried, because we are the ones that have been given, we are smart people, we have been given this knowledge. And everywhere we go, we make it our home. That is why we are feared, as Isaiah 18 says, we are feared since long before. Because we have been given knowledge, we have been given wealth, we have been given by the multitude and multiplication of our wealth. And they will wonder, once the Gikuyu nation unites, once we go back to the footsteps of our mighty one, and those that have slept wake up, so that we may claim our land through the sacrifices to the mighty one. That is how it is. So the other thing that I wish to tell you, so once the girls of Gikuyu came to this land, they gave birth and they multiplied. And that is why you see this nation or this land full of people. But in the nation of Gikuyu, we have no other tribes. And where they say that it's theirs, we are there. Because Ngai gave us this title, the Solomonic lineage, Mukuruwe, the smarter one, the one that is bestowed with knowledge above the rest. Mukuyu was birthed out of knowledge. And that is why he's given the title that is smarter than the other one. And I appreciate that you have come to this homestead. And I ask you to come and come again. Because this is the well of truth and knowledge. And this is where you come to find yourself. And they know that which is hidden becomes unhidden. Because we are guided by three things. We are guided by curses, Kerumi. Mogiro, which are taboos. And there's something that is called tahu, which is defiling yourself. And if you do not abstain from those three things, as they say, he who does not know his culture is a slave. So we want to free ourselves from the slavery, so that the Most High may see us in another way, so that we may receive his blessings. Our ancestors were blessed with many years because they obeyed our Most High. But in these times, and depending on the way that we are living, we are lying to ourselves that we are growing. But when we seem to be smart, we are going to peril and to our demise. Because those that are young have disrespected the old have disrespected the young. And even the young ones are not giving the elders the respect. And those that came with this thing of the church, They have put us in a barbecue of fault. Because we have understood that they do not speak of the Most High. Now we have seen the truth. They are only there to do business. Because now they're telling us to marry, to engage in homosexuality and gay marriages. So the things that we saw that they does not belong to them. So they are propagating the same thing they told us not to do. So they have been lying to us to live the way they want us to live. We want to live the way the Most High wanted us to live. The things that He gave us to eat. Because that is what gave us long life. And that is why we have so many diseases in this nation. We have the for example, cancer. We have diabetes. We have arthritis. And all these diseases that come with the pain from the legs. Because we denied the voices of those that slept before us. That is why they are fighting us. That is why you will not see anybody reaching more than 100 years. Because in the olden days, the younger ones used to bury the old ones. But in these times, the old ones are burying the young ones. That is the way our nation seems. But once we know ourselves and we go back to the ancient ways, and we stop lying to the Most High as we lied, as the white man lied to us, that once the white man is out, that we will chase away our sacred ways. The Most High has been waiting for us to stand by the way that He taught us and our ancestors, because that He may be pleased. That is why you see in all the nations, people keep fighting each other. Because now people do not want the advice of the elders, they want the money. Now in these times, now I ask you that have come, can we have a consensus? Can we pray to the Most High, our Ngai Morungu Munenyaga, that He may bring back the old ways, that we may all return? Na atiriri awa nyondo wa aria maratura marikari matura nigukuria kiuria hena mwana wekiriro meri. And I asked this question. There's a child that was put on a ship. Oh, forgive me. It's okay. There was a mwana wekiriro meri akiritu aliete utaha aliete itaha nyanyitwo ni muthungu kana mwarabu ni ekiro meri ni atwaro bururi atirwe ntralitanira ciana iciri ni irenda gucoka mucii tuguciteithie atia. And I ask those that were put in slave ships want to return home. I asked the elder, what should they do? What we are going to do is, first, let us bring back the old ways. And once we bring back the old ways, let us make the sacrifices that our ancestors made a covenant with the Most High that they will always offer unto Him. And once we are finished doing that, and those even knew that in their diaspora, you will come home and you will find a place here. Because now once we go back to the old ways and give the sacrifices that are due to the Most High, like now I tell you without fear or favor, there is a sacrifice that is required of those that were fighting in the forest, fighting the white man. Because we had those that were supporting the white man, we will call them Ngati. They used to support the white man and they were fighting their fellow Kikuyus. And those that their ancestors made vows by the divine, and they invoke the name of the divine, the creator, that they will never marry from the clans that betrayed them or from the names that betrayed them. And they took a blood oath, an oath that concerns blood. And they vowed they will never give their daughters to their betrayers. And the betrayers did the same thing. But once we got independence, because independence in this nation was not given to the freedom fighters, it was given to the puppets of the West. So the betrayers were forgiven, and those that fought became obsolete. So our ancestors fought for freedom that they never got to see. So the betrayers went to the churches. They accepted that white man that you call Jesus, and he said there's a savior. And that blood that had been poured, they continued to intermarry. That is why this nation has not seen peace. So these betrayers are the same people that are making us go to the courts. Because our Gikuyu culture is what made us fight for liberation. But even, and we admit it, though it will not be spoken, the one that was given rulership was a betrayer. So his inner circle was also comprised of betrayers. So there's no time this nation will be liberated. Because the white man, the Mundele, the Muzungu, your colonizer, did not remove. Because those that fought for the liberation of this country are not recognized. And that is why we have so many problems. And when we speak the truth, they even threaten our lives. And that is why even the cradle of our people is haunted by government agencies. Because they are afraid of the Gikuyu child. Once the Gikuyu child emancipates himself, he will become powerful. So the churches and the betrayers came into a conglomeration to harass the true seekers of truth. So here there's a kerfuffle. Because now we want the Most High to show himself. Because the truth and the entire truth cannot be sought by one that is living. The truth generates. Like I can give you, for example, I can give you a narration of a Gikuyu that is in America. Somebody that went to America and got rich. He bought 500. He or she bought 500 acres. And he became very rich. But the moment he started speaking the truth of Ondoire, the truth of the I am that I am, Doire not Doire, he got attacked. And he started speaking boldly that there is a Ngai of the Gikuyu that lives. The Mundele came together and they harassed him and arrested him actually. They started getting jealous towards him. Now he has been jailed for 130 years. And my viewer, Google that story because my elder is not a liar. Google that story. He has been paralyzed on one leg. And he wants help from you, the Gikuyu nation, and you, the chosen ones. And that child of ours, we can't help him. He's jailed in a nation that we are not there. So even me as the elder, when I get that response, I cannot help him. Even if I cry or pray, I cannot help our child. So now, you that are chosen, you solely need to come together and speak together. Because the betrayers will never accept those that betray the ways of your Most High will never accept you to conglomerate. Because they are the ones that are ruling this nation. Because they are the ones with the wealth. And they are the ones with everything. They don't want this place to progress. Like, you see, this is the cradle of man. And I tell you, my viewers, to access this is a dirt road. This is the most important place with the culture that has been prophesied, and you cannot even have a tarmac road to access this. Now understand that even the media stations, all of the media has been coming. Myself and this elder are seen in the televisions. And they're telling us we are sitting on gold. And when they see them, they see my shoe has holes, I have nothing. Now I was in court in Muranga. I almost came walking. And now I am still in the cradle of my father. So I pity our nation. When I remember the wealth that you've been given by the Most High, then I see the true ways of the Most High have been dispersed and nobody's following them. I wish to ask the Most High to call me that I may rest and not bear witness to this. Because I do not see the truth being spoken. And if they want to listen to you, you need wealth for them to listen to you. And they don't want the truth. They want lies and they want you to be wealthy. If you look at our capital city, Nairobi, all those of the Somali descent are overtaking the town. Because these people are very intelligent. Because they met in Abuja, in Nigeria, and they declare they're going to rule Africa. So that is why they buy everything higher than the asking price. If you can look, Isili belongs to them. I had the elders of the Kalenjin, those that startled me. We were with them in the State House. And I saw elders that understand each other. I was with the driver to the president of the republic. They even called the governor that was Jackson Mandago. And even the small person will be able to get to the high person because they have an understanding. Because here we have here what we have is an agitation towards each other. Even you that are small can help somebody that is big. But you cannot help him because if you want to help him, you cannot help him because he's full of pride. If you look at a king like Uhuru, he left because he did not want to get advice. We have been given 3 kings. And none of them have ever stepped their foot on this sacred ground. And they go everywhere else. They're getting flights. But the cradle or where they came from, they have never stepped their foot. But you will see those of the Kalenjin persuasion or the Maasai persuasion fulfilling their culture. Now, because you will come here because you have seen Washira wa Kirago speaking about this. Because the Gikuyu love when there's agitation. Because they don't like to be left out or feel like they are hated. Now we talk to Ngai that he is the big mighty one. And we hope that everything will go as it is desired. Like that court case that we have in Muranga. They are going to ask us for money to pay. We cannot even pay our lawyer.
Na udura turathi kwaria TV tu no bururi.
And what we are going to speak does not even concern it concerns the entire nation of the Most High.
Na turaho ni undu wa kirira gia Gikuyu gitu kia.
And we have been persecuted because of following our ancient ways.
Na ni maraigwa ma radio na magathoma magatheti.
They are seeing it in the radios and they are reading it in the papers.
Na amwe ni atongoria itu guku.
And some of them are our leaders here.
Makirite ta igana ria mbugu.
But they are silent.
Utoka kirigwa andu gikwa muthembo ucio na muthembo.
So and we wonder what kind of people are these.
Now to
our guests we welcome you.
Because
Because the truth of that which pertains Ra or that which pertains the light, we will tell you we are the Gikuyu and we are not moving or being shaken. We will live as the Gikuyu and we will live and die as the Gikuyu. And that is how it is.
Bye bye.
I greet you, our guests. I am happy that you visited here. Your visitation here is not taken in simplicity. The truth is, now that your feet have stepped here, you're living here with a blessing. You live here with knowledge. The same knowledge that my senior elder spoke about. That knowledge that was given to Gikuyu by Nyaga. I hold this day in great esteem. And I tell you it's a great day and it's a great day. Because where I met you, we were still trying to find directions. Because you are led by the Most High. You met me. You were sent to me. Because when you asked me about Mukuruwe and Nyagathanga, I told you it's down yonder. I had my paraphernalia. I was going to the town. When I tried, he says, when I tried to explain to him, I just told him, get into the car, show us. And he accepted. And as we were going, Google Maps was trying to give us an idea of this place. And Google Map, and I tell you my viewers, Google Map did mislead us. We did take a turn that we were not supposed to take. We were told we were to go about 10 kilometers yonder, but we are here. So today and your trip today, it is blessed. I have nothing more to add. Because my elder has spoken all that has to be spoken. I do not like to regurgitate what has been spoken. Because time waits for no one. And he says the sun does not wait for no king. And now that you have come and the time is correct, the ball is in your court. What you feel that you need to ask. So that where it was not full, that it may be filled. The ball is in your court. Cut. He died at the age of 200. And now it's not guesswork. Can you imagine dying at the age of 200? He was circumcised. Circa 1851, that is when he was circumcised. Prior even to the white man setting his foot on Mount Kenya. And the truth that we are giving you, which is the Kirira, which has light. And I'm not speaking things that I pulled out of my rear quarters. I'm telling you the truth, something that I was taught by somebody I've seen, felt with my own eyes, with my own hands. And when you hear there's a shrine or Kigongona has been planted, the one that belongs to the Gikuyu, it's not August stories. When we fought the Mau Mau War, the white man, he tried to build a camp. Those that had no fault. Those that were put into detention camps. And because of that torturing the chosen ones of the Most High, because they made his shrine a camp, you will hear that story, and I'll still tell you. The men that went into the Thingira. Sorry? Oh, there was a curfew at that time.
Yeah.
If you got late, you would be locked out.
Yeah.
This other day, we had lightning without rain. And it burned that house that the white man was living. And it was burned here. Like, I don't know if the cameraman can pan just here. And it burned, lightning without rain, and it was done. And one of those that have been tied down, that even having burned and to a crisp, where he had stood, even single garment of his was not touched by the flame. And because of that fear, the white man, they left this place. I do not give you August stories, I tell you the truth. 1958. That is when he was born, 1958. Now, for you that is watching me, 1958 would have been around the same time that Kenya was getting very active in the liberation fight. So, at that point, when he was getting born, the African in Kenya, the Mukuyu in Mount Kenya was tired of colonization. Nanidayo. So, my viewers, allow the elder to lead us to the next place. So, the next step, we are going to go into the holy altar or the shrine. Now I'm going to ask you, because this is a very sacred ground. No, not everybody is allowed to go in there. And I heard here we have somebody that is not of our descent. So I ask him or her. Do you wish to join or be called as a Mukuyu? Because we do not want the mighty one of Kiri-Nyaga to hit back. Because the Kigongona that happens there is not a joke. Because the first thing, it does not want anybody that has touched alcohol. Nobody that has attended a funeral. You should not have defiled yourself. You know, thou who takes very many aspects among the Gikuyu culture. That's a topic for another day. When you go into that place, and you know that you have not drunk, or anything that defiles you, whether you've gotten carnal knowledge. Let me put it into perspective. Like when you go into Kigongona, we say, what does that mean? This is a hidden message that says, if you go into the Kigongona, you cannot know your wife carnally. You cannot participate in alcoholic drinks. You cannot do anything that defiles you, because if you go there and you're defiled, I cannot promise you will come back. Liar.
Mukuyu.
So now declare, you that are here. If you know any of you have any of that, we can fail to go.
Aya, udori ogie.
Awa. Ginya kile. Ginya davi.
Wena davi.
Because you did not come here wearing trousers. Because this young generation is wearing trousers. We do not allow trousers into the shrine. Because I am happy the way you dress, you understand what has even the hair that you put on you, it's the way that it's supposed to be. Because the Most High doesn't like when they do that with their hair. The Most High wants somebody that is humble, somebody that has cleansed themselves, and somebody that knows they are going before the Most High, the creator of all that you see, these trees, this, you're going before him. Even we that are here, if we make a mistake, even Ngai, because the women that are old, do not show your thighs. It is wrong before the Most High. Wear something that shows that you have respect before the Most High. Even when the Most High looks at you, when he looks at your body and your heart, now he will accept you. The will accept you because you're living according to his ways. If we live according to the ways of Most High, our Most loved us so much, because you're supposed to know. We look like the soil that is before us. If you look at your body and this soil, there's no difference. They look similar. So when we say the Most High took the soil, he took the soil of what he was creating. And that is why the Most High created that of which looks like the soil. So the soil that we are picking up is the same one that has made the body. And the Most High looks as above, so is it below. So that what he loved, that body may live. What he gave was the breath of life. And we accept and acknowledge there's a mighty one like that. And I am overwhelmed and overjoyed when the Gikuyu do things that please the Most High. Because the Most High blesses us in ways. To the shrine, you have to take off your shoes because we are stepping on holy ground. So you leave your shoes here and you proceed.
The first one that came back. You were the first one that came back. Have anybody here supported you? She said, have anybody supported you with anything? I said, no. No. And she said, Kiri-Nyaga, Nyandarwa, Gikuyu mwene Nyaga,
ithuĩ tũrĩ ciana ciaku tũtheria kĩongona gĩkĩ gĩaku tũrĩ na ageni marĩ haha hamwe na ithuĩ arĩa matũcereire makĩmatha kĩrĩra tondũ mwĩkwaugire kĩrĩra nĩ kũmatha ũkĩmathagwo kana mwaki ũhoyagwo kũrĩa wakĩtio tũrĩ mbere ya kĩongona gĩkĩ gĩaku gĩtheru na rĩu twambarĩte moko maitũ na igũrũ tũkũhoya twĩnyihĩtie mũno gũkorwo tũiguĩre tha baba witũ ngũcũria bũrũri ũyũ none bũrũri ũyũ na maũndũ matiganĩte na makĩria rũrĩrĩ rwitũ nĩ ũrĩa tũhang'ang'ĩtio nĩ ũndũ wa ũndũire witũ matirenda gũtuona nĩ ũndũ wa ũrĩa matũgiĩte mwene Nyaga wa kĩongona gĩkĩ gĩaku wone thamaki nenehetie bũrũri ũyũ witũ arĩa marĩa gwaka kĩongona gĩkĩ nĩ magĩtiganĩirie mwene Nyaga tũrĩ mũkũrũ-inĩ wa Nyagathanga na makĩria nĩho tũrĩ mũtĩ-inĩ ũcio na nĩguo ũkĩte igũrũ ritũ mwene Nyaga nĩ twakũhoya haha nĩho mũtugi arutĩire igongona haha nĩho Njenga wa Karũme arutĩire igongona mwene Nyaga twagũthaitha tondũ nĩ tũĩ baba witũ thamaki witũ na wahania ta wahĩngĩcana nĩ twagũthaitha nĩ tũramenya harĩa hothe tũhana ithuĩ Agĩkũyũ nĩ twĩhĩtĩirwo twagũthaitha mwene Nyaga ũndũire witũ nĩ tũkũhoya ũthiĩ na mbere na kĩongona gĩaku kĩrũgame ririkana maithe maitũ marĩa athuri na marĩa atumia ona njamba citũ cioragirwo ũndũ wa kĩgongona ĩtĩkĩra mwene Nyaga ihinda rĩrĩ twĩna ageni aya tũrĩ nao o kũrĩa guothe marĩ Ngai wĩtĩkĩre kũmarathima aya twĩ nao nĩ marathime tondũ mokĩte na ngari ithondeketwo nĩ moko ma mũndũ nĩ ndagũthaitha mwene Nyaga aya nĩ tũmaikĩirie mbũthĩ nĩ twarĩte ndarwa na nĩ tũmathũcĩire mwano na tũkamenya atĩ bũrũri ũyũ witũ tũingĩtwo ta ngombo ona ti ta kũrĩ gwitũ rĩu mwene Nyaga twakũhoya ihũa rĩrĩa mahinda-inĩ maya rĩrĩ twĩnarĩo ũrĩamũkĩre mwene Nyaga ũgĩtũrathime ũgĩtarĩria athuri aya maũndũ marĩa twagĩrĩirwo nĩ gwĩka na maũndũ marĩa twagĩrĩirwo nĩ kũmenya nĩgetha bũrũri witũ ume ũkombo-inĩ ũngĩrora kĩongona kĩa Gĩkũyũ no wone kĩna magigi tondũ kũrĩ andũ atongu mũno marĩ rũrĩrĩ-inĩ rwitũ na matingĩhota gwaka kĩgongona mwene Nyaga ndakũhoya ũtũiguĩre tha no tuonekere maũndũ-inĩ mothe athuri aya nĩ aku na ithuĩ nĩ twetĩkĩra Ngai ũtwĩke maũndũ mega haha twĩna mũhĩrĩga wa mũmbi andũ aitũ na maikaraga tagerio ũtuĩkaga kũmarathima na kũmeka wega na gũthiĩ na mbere na kũmateithia na maũndũ mothe na ithuĩ agongoni na atonyi a kĩongona gĩkĩ kĩa Mũkũrwe Nyagathanga o ithuĩ twariganĩire na ithuĩ tũhana ta twagagĩte maĩ-inĩ nĩ kwagagio nĩ wathani ũrĩa wĩkuo mwene Nyaga nĩ twakũhoya ihinda rĩkinye rũrĩrĩ witũ ũrĩa twainire twĩke atĩ ihinda nĩ rĩgakinya tũkagomana ithuothe kuma Ngong'u nginya Karĩmatura twagũthaitha Ngai ihinda ũrĩkinyie nĩgetha Gĩkũyũ gitũ tige kũnyarirwo tondũ wathiĩ handũ hothe anake aitũ maranyarirwo makĩnyitagwo makĩgĩrwo igenyo na maũndũ marĩa marerwo ti mo.
Get her water from this side.
Gĩthima kĩu gĩkunĩkĩte haha.
That well floats from this point. It bubbles on about a 15 minutes walk from here. The other one is on this side that was used by our Gikuyu. But geologically, they all originate from this place. And I wish my cameraman would show you. They all originate from this place. Now, you see the signs and wonders of the Most High, Kiri-Nyaga. There's nothing here but dry land. But from this point, you go 15 minutes walk in this direction, you're going to get a well that has never gone dry in any season. And on this side, you have another one. This one was used by Mombi, this one was used by Gikuyu, as my elders have taught me. And I cannot summarize the amount of information you can get from Mukuruwe wa Nyagathanga. Where Mugikuyu, okawe menye. Ukawalie nawa makuhe uma na tucokie rũĩ mũkaro nĩ thayũ na hau nĩ twarĩkia. This was done by the 9 clans to completion. Kenda Muyo agreed. Thayũ Gikuyu gĩtagathira. Thayũ nyũmba ya mũmbi. Thayũ ndũrĩrĩ. Thayũ.
Kĩrĩma-inĩ gĩkĩ mwaki wa rũheni tũkĩmara igũrũ tũgĩcinda kĩingĩro ũcio ũkĩhĩa ũgĩthira na mũthuri harĩa arũngiĩ rũthingo-inĩ ona nguo ciake gũtirĩ ahutirio na mwaki no kũrekio arekirio
what my elder is saying, and this one will quite interest you. Towards that Tengira, when we were in the colonial period, and I'm telling you, these are facts. You better take this to the bank. There was an elder that was caught with a curfew, and they tried to detain him in his hut. So there was lightning that came down and burnt everything besides and left the man standing in this particular ground that we are. Now, if you look towards that tree, that is the oldest tree where our Gikuyu used to give magongona to Ngai Nyaga. That is why he used to give his sacrifices. Now, there's a very interesting fact about this tree amongst the Gikuyu. If you touch this tree, my people, come. If you touch this tree, you get life added unto you. So, to you in the diaspora, you need to come to Mukuruwe or Nyagathanga and touch this tree. If you feel you need more time, come and touch this tree. And with the permission of my elder, who is going to lead me towards that, we are going to give you an example of how it does our. Now we are going to follow my elder.
Ngai wa tene, Ngai wagu. Wewe thengirie waganu wa ciera na manduti. Ukirehaire thire gethengia waganu wao. Wani oe haria tugereirio ithe ciana cia mau mau. No mathina maria mothe tugereirio bururi-ini uyu witu. Tutiri agani Kiri-Nyaga. Twaguthengerera we Ngai wa ma ithe witu. Tukombararirie moko uria wahoyagwo ni mau mau mari githaka. Ndio gutari mundu ungiamahiohirie kana marugire matingiakirie mwaki ndogo ndikametanire mariaga nyama njithe na magaturania na nyamu nigetha bururi uyu ukeatha. Ngai wake mathi niwe turakaira, Ngai wake mathi niwe turarira, Ngai wa mathenge niwe turakaira. We wamutongoririe irima-ini na mikuru-ini no gituma ciana ciake ikeatha. Wiathire twageire no gutiri kindu twageire kiria maithe maitu maroagira. Tungikira tungikorwo turi andu akigu, tungikira tuge ni kwega na ti kwega no kwihenia tukwihenia. We Ngai utacenjagia na mahinda, niwe kiria maithe maitu macaragia na niwe haria kiri na niwe no gikomeire. Twaguthaitha we Ngai wa maithe maitu reke magiukiririe kiria gigito. Ugai marogiukiriria, ugai marogiukiriria kiroma mena kiroma rega kirotucokerera thai thathaia Ngai witu thai.